art and visual culture. And then I got my Master's of Fine Arts in Studio Art from American University in 2014. I'm the Transition Fellow for Lemon and Washington Nests.
Hi guys, my name is Alex Conaway. I graduated from Trinity class of 2015. I was an educational studies major and I'm the Transition Fellow for Lockwood Nest and Cannon Nest.
Hi everyone, my name is Consuelo Pedro and I graduated from Trinity in 2015. My major was neuroscience and I'm the Transition Fellow for Elms and Olmsted Nest.
Hi everyone, my name is Chanel Erasmus, also class of 2015 from Trinity College, and I majored in theatre and dance, and I'm the Transition Fellow for Book and Brownell Nest.
Good evening everyone, my name is Taniqua Hughley. I also graduated from Trinity College where my major was sociology and my minor was legal studies. I am the Transition Fellow for Minty and Roosevelt Nest.
Taniqua's going to step away and moderate for us, so you'll be seeing her once you get to campus.
So some of you might have questions about the Bantam Network, and I'm sure you've all received some emails from the 5 of us explaining sort of what nest you're in, and we're just going to give you a little bit of an overview about the Bantam Network. And so each of you would have been each of you were given a choice of 5 different seminars, and so you would have been able to choose whichever seminar you wanted to be in and would have been placed in either your top 3 choices. And so based on that, you would have been placed within a nest. And we obviously have 10 nests, and each nest is made up of about 4 or 5 different seminars. And so those 4 or 5 seminars are then come together to form one nest, and those nests live in the same neighboring areas. Consuelo can tell you a little bit more about the faculty that are involved and everyone that forms part of the nest.
Yeah, so as Chanel said, each nest is made up of 4 or 5 seminars, but in addition to having your peers in those nests, you also have peer mentors, faculty mentors, and a student life team. So much support to help you get adjusted to Trinity, feel part of the community, and have a great year.
As Transition Fellows, our main goal is to help you guys have a smooth transition from high school to college. We want to point you guys out to different resources, both on and off campus, so you can have that sense of comfort, both at Trinity and within the city of Hartford. So we're all accessible to campus, and we're pretty much here to just guide you to a smooth first year of college. And we don't necessarily want to hold your hand, but we want to make sure you guys are comfortable and have a great first year.
And so we're going to guide you to resources like the Math Center and Writing Center, but we're also resources ourselves if you need a little extra help figuring out your 4-year academic plan, or talking about the multiple things you might want to major in, or figuring out your schedule for this semester, or just venting about your family life. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, so as you can see, we act as social, emotional, academic advisors, mentors to you. And since all of us have graduated pretty recently, we definitely understand the struggles as well as sort of the great times you do have at college. And we're definitely here to guide you through that. So we are hoping that you might ask us some questions about your transition to college, and you can certainly type those into the forum, and we'll be able to answer any of those questions you might have.
I think a nice resource of the nests while we wait for questions are that you have your seminar professor, which is a great resource. That's going to be your academic advisor for your years here at Trinity before you declare a major. But within the nest, since there are 4 to 5 seminars, you have 4 to 5 faculty members that can also be a resource for you to talk to about their academic discipline, what they think are some good points of advice for going through your time at college and maybe even beyond college, because your professors here, they're more than just your teachers. They are people who have families and lives and activities and things that they want to talk to you about. So here at Trinity, we kind of pride ourselves on being an open campus where you get to know everyone around you on multiple levels.
Okay. So I guess to start off this conversation, you talked a little bit about the Bantam Network. You described what your role is as a Transition Fellow, and you also described what it's like to be in a nest. Can you highlight one of the great opportunities you had / interactions you had with your nest members if you would like to think about maybe the first month of school, what was the journey like for first year, and how did you interact with them?
Alex and I kicked off because I'm for Lebanon, Washington. Alex is for Cannon and Lockwood. And all of our students live in Elton and Jones residence halls. So we do a lot of activities together. We kicked off the year with a meet and greet, which we'll probably do again this year with some ice cream, just social gathering, getting to know each other. And then we try to come into some classes. So we might get to a little bit more FaceTime with you.
I think one of the great experiences I had, especially in the first couple months of the first semester last year, was I was able to push those different students to really get outside of their comfort zone and meet different professors who they usually wouldn't have interactions with. So, for example, the faculty mentor of the Lockwood Nest is Lisa Foster, and she actually didn't teach her first year seminar last year, and she's a biology professor. And a couple of students in my nest, they were interested in biology, but their first year seminar professor really didn't know much about biology. So if they had questions about biology, I was able to pretty much push them to her, and she answered all those questions.
Yeah, similar to Meredith, within the first few weeks of interacting with first year students last year, I had a meet and greet, and that was just a really great way for first year students to overcome that initial awkwardness. Okay, I'm here on campus, how do I meet people? How do I get out of my dorm room and just make new friends? And those social gatherings to my nest continued throughout the semester. And we all know that it's scary coming to college and wondering, okay, I went to high school for this many years and we're around a set group of people. How do I start over? We get it. So how we get around that and help you transition through that is through having events every week, every 2 weeks. And these are events that come from you guys. You'll own the nest. It's your nest. And that's the fun, exciting part of it. You're here in college, and really you are in the driver's seat. We're just here to help guide you, provide resources, be that bank of advice if you want it. But the beauty of the nest is you have this opportunity to go off campus, do fun things, but it's your ideas. So get excited.
Yeah. I mean, I can echo what everyone said, and I think those relationships are being formed as soon as you get on campus, and the sort of orientation kicks it all off. And we are definitely present at all the orientation events. Some of us have organized events, so you'll definitely see us a lot and we become familiar faces, and you can start interacting with us, just sort of breaking that barrier, removing that awkwardness and removing sort of the facelessness of everyone on campus, because there's certainly a lot of people. But yeah, I mean, it's all about consistency for us and ensuring that you always have something to do and get to meet people and new people, since we have so many connections both on and off campus. Those connections become your connections as well, so if we invite alumni or we invite business owners to come on campus, they're benefiting you as well as you benefiting them, because you get to know them, you get to go to their restaurant or go to their business and say, hi, I know you, and so we're sort of removing those facelessness and creating meaningful relationships is sort of what college, I think, is all about. So we're definitely excited for that.
And there's no better place for that than Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut. It is such a resourceful city, and because it's that perfect size where there are tons of opportunities, but also, as Chanel said, you can go downtown and you can know politicians at the state capitol, you can know business owners, you can know really great community service leaders and have those connections early on. And that's what our job is here to do. So we're really excited.
Nice. So Consuelo, you just talked about having the opportunity to get to know people in our community that are really well off and community leaders. How do they create those connections? How do they even get downtown Hartford? So would you like to describe that process?
Absolutely. So that's where we come in. We know that Trinity has so many resources, and being students ourselves from rural institutions, we also know by having so much, sometimes it can be daunting. So your first stop is us. We are your compass to be guided through, through the different resources, through the connections. So you have a question, let's say you're really into art and the Wadsworth Art Museum is downtown. You're not sure how to get there, you're not sure what the connections are. Come to your Transition Fellow, we'll work something out. I take students downtown, and through things like that, I introduce them to the Wadsworth employees, and then from there, you're on your own, you have your wings, and you can form those relationships, build an internship off of that, get a summer job. But to put things simply, your first stop is us. So you don't have to remember anything else. Just remember that your Transition Fellow is the first place that you can go to, but in addition, there's so many other people.
I believe Trinity students are also given what's called a U-Pass here. So when you come to campus and you check in, you'll get a little card that you can stick in your wallet called a U-Pass, and you can take public transportation here for free. So it's a quick 10-minute, less than that ride from a bus stop, and the bus stops are right on campus. So, or just around the perimeter of campus. So it's really easy to get around.
Are the buses the only options here at Trinity that they have to get around?
No.
No, so there's the, it's the off-campus shuttle, and you can certainly make use of that. They have certain hours after hours. It usually is from about 4 o'clock till about 10 or 11 o'clock that you can sort of, you call campus safety, and they can organize that for you, and they come pick you up wherever you are. There are also bikes that you can rent, and so that's also a great way to get around, definitely sustainable, and you can get some exercise through that. So definitely make use of that, and if there's any other way that you can possibly think of.
I mean, you can also walk.
Yes.
There are a bunch of great restaurants around the vicinity of campus. There's a CVS, so if you need to get your pharmaceutical needs, it's a 5-minute
Or you
walk
have
down
a
the street.
particular shampoo that you really want.
It's close.
Yeah, and we have Consuelo has been organizing sort of a Bantam walk for that Saturday
Sign up.
orientation. So you should definitely sign up for that. You can definitely see what is around here, because they're really, I mean, the resources are endless, both on
Everything
and
you
off campus. And we are your resource as well. So please never feel like you're inconveniencing us or anything like that, because our doors are always open to you. And along with that, our offices are situated both, we are all in the residence halls. So Consuelo and I work in the same area. So you'll definitely get to see a lot of us, and our doors are always open for you, and we're there throughout the day and late at night as well. So that's always an opportunity for you to get to know us.
Nice. And so when students come to office hours, do they have to ask about academics? Can they talk to, what can students come and talk to you about? What are some examples that students have? Obviously, we'll leave out some personal stories, but can you think about a situation where a student came just to hang out, just to talk, and just because, yeah.
No, I mean, all the time. I mean, students knew that I was there pretty much all day and late at night, and so they would just come knock on my door and come and see what I'm doing. And I'm taking master's classes as well, so they would know when I'm there doing some work and be like, hey, can I come join you, come study with you? And I don't feel like sitting in the library, and it's like, of course you can. We had students come in, and sort of if their parents are coming for the weekend, they want to know sort of where to take their parents, good places to go downtown or along the perimeter of campus. So really, they just come in and talk to us about anything and everything. We're sort of your, like I said, social, emotional mentors, but we're also your friends. So you can always look to us as those people.
That kind of goes for office hours with faculty too. You don't have to just, in fact, the faculty is there and they're holding those office hours, not just to talk about what they're teaching you in class. You don't have to have a question about class materials. You can go in there and say, hey, Professor so-and-so, how was your weekend? Talk about their dog, talk about their cat, talk about their kids, talk about your summer vacation. They want to get to know you as a human being, just like you want to get to know them as a human being. And really that, when you start that relationship earlier on, if there comes a time later on in the class where you actually do have a question, it's so much easier to go to them and say, hey, I'm really struggling with this paper, with this test. Now you know them, you can actually ask them without feeling awkward and weird about it.
It's just breaking that barrier to understand that they're actually people. And you don't have to be afraid of your professor.
They have interests other than what they got their PhD in. So.
And they're eager to get to know you as a student and watch you grow. That's what a liberal arts education is about. So much more than academic.
We allow for that to happen, you know, in the common spaces, sort of by inviting the professors to come to the common spaces and not just be sort of seen in their classroom or around campus. You know, we want to, like Alex said, break the barrier and sort of intermingle social and intellectual, so that those professors sort of feel comfortable in your space as well, and that way you can feel comfortable in their space. So definitely, I know you had a professor that came in, so you can definitely talk about that.
Yeah, it's my next faculty mentor last year. would be there either Monday night or Tuesday night and literally hang out. That's what he did. He either played table tennis with the students or baked cookies and just was present with the students. And I know my students, that was such an important part of helping them feel comfortable and letting them know that, yes, Trinity College is a family. So yeah, we did a lot of cooking, a lot of baking, a lot of eating.
Lots of food. There's always food at our event, so we definitely make sure that everyone has enough to eat, and we try all different cuisines, so it's not always just the same. But food will always be present when we're present.
And speaking of the common spaces, so those are in all of the residence halls. There's one or two, I think there are two in North, but each of these common spaces was renovated in 2015, so they're bright and sparkly and shiny and new and beautiful, and they have kitchens, so you can make a community meal, you can bake some cookies, you just have to clean up after yourself. That's key. But really, it's just a great hangout spot to talk, watch TV, study, cook, whatever.
And I think Chanel touched on this after, but when we say Trinity community, we mean Trinity community. It's not just faculty, staff, students, but alumni, neighbors, as we said, business owners. It's such a wide pool of what family and community is, and that was really important to me when I was a student, and that's what I think saved me most about being a member of the Trinity family, that it really is a family.
And it starts as soon as you walk on campus. I think the best piece of advice that I ever got, and I got it often, but I'm going to say it again to you anyway, because I'm sure you've gotten the same advice, is just knowing that everyone who's coming to campus wants to make friends. They all do. So be friendly, smile, talk to people, get over that first little initial feeling of awkwardness, because they're all in the same boat and they all want to connect with you. Just be friendly and you're going to do great.
Yeah, that's great.
And so you talked a little bit about like friendly and making friends. How have you seen the Nest serve as like the main, I guess how have you seen the Nest serve as, I guess, the initiator of friendships and family and community building during your first year as a Transition Fellow?
Last year we had, during orientation, Nest games. This year we're going to be having similar thing called Grit and Wit during orientation, and I highly recommend you all come. I had two students from my Nest, from Washington Nest. Actually, it was someone from Lemon and someone from Washington, and they were competing together, and they didn't think they would have met because they weren't taking classes together, they weren't doing activities together, but they became the best of friends. And it was through this activity and playing dodgeball that they really became the best of friends.
The whole thing, you're meeting people that aren't in your seminar. They don't necessarily have to be in your residence hall. You're just meeting a wide variety, a wide range of people that might not necessarily be on your sports team, or you might not be in the same club as them. But being in that Nest, you're exposed to people in three or four different seminars.
And I think by having events and giving you the opportunity to name and design these events and having them consistently was, especially in the first few weeks and in the fall, that perfect initiator of community. Because I remember being a freshman, and if it isn't your natural personality to go out there and start a party, it's nice to have this structure to know there's going to be a next event this night, and I can go to this and meet people and calm those butterflies. So.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that we have sort of a wide variety of events as well. So they're social, but they're also intellectual, and they sort of are, even though we sort of would be the ones, I guess, planning them and putting them on, you're the ones that are initiating them, so it's based on your interests, what you enjoy doing, and that happens in the first weekend that we get to know you, and we sort of see what you're interested in, and then of course it can continue throughout the year because interests change all the time. Trust me, I get it. But I think it's sort of a great way for us to see what everyone likes doing, and that way even a greater range of people come together, because there are more than two nests situated in an area, and so when that happens, you just foster incredible relationships. And someone, I might not like yoga, but my next door neighbor who's in another nest in another seminar loves it, and she or he takes me to a yoga class. And so we have a lot of different events that are going on, and so they definitely cater towards anyone and everyone really, and we hope that you can sort of help us initiate those kind of events.
Another goal of the Bantam Network that works into your question, Taniqua, is to connect first year students to upper year students. And that's something that's really important to us. And it's great to see first year students getting comfortable with upper year students. So for example, if we're having a nest event with one of my professors in my nest and he's playing table tennis, we always make sure to invite upper year students so that right from the get-go, you have contact with people. And I know, I'm thinking from an academic perspective, I love having an upper year student to bounce things off of, like, oh, did you take this class? Like, how was it? So we're gonna help you build those relationships early so that you don't feel isolated. You don't feel like you have no one to look up to besides us. Yeah, we get those relationships started very early and consistently. And in addition to your first year seminar mentor, we really help you foster those relationships with upper year students.
Another great way to make those relationships is to join clubs, join organizations on campus, and we also try to facilitate some gatherings with them, and we'll at least tell you about, for example, the student activities fair that happens early on during orientation. So those are great things to be a part of. Clubs want you to be joining them. Even if you miss the first few meetings, they'll be thrilled if you attend. They need new members. So never feel like you're unwelcome just because you're a first year.
Okay.
Even if you're feeling like, oh, I don't know what I want to be involved in, you know, that's okay too. You can sort of take your time to figure it out, and you know, and that's totally fine. You know, we get that. It is an overwhelming sense of everything that's going on campus. So don't feel like you have to sort of jump right into something, but just know that those options are available to you, and we can certainly steer you in the right direction if you need assistance with that.
Say you join a few clubs and you find out you love one but aren't so much a fan of the other one, you just stop going to the meetings. There's no reason why you would have to stick with something just because you went to one meeting.
So we have our first question from our guest. Jillian asked,
Hi, Jillian.
are other people in our nest also our roommates / people living near us, or is it random? So pretty much, how are the roommates assigned? How are the nests assigned?
So,
if someone would like to talk about the Minty and Roosevelt nest on my behalf, please do so, and also explain what it's like in your nests.
So I'll start with us, and we'll move on to you guys. Sure. Basically, in Elton and Jones, there are 4 nests: Lemon, Washington, Cannon, Lockwood. You could be living with someone from your nest or someone for any of those 3 other nests. So 4 nests in those 2 dorms. Then you've got Elms and Olmsted, Book, and Brownell that are in Jackson and Wheaton. And those, you could have a roommate from any of those in your dorm. And then from Taniqua's nests, Minty and Roosevelt, those are all in North. So you're gonna have a roommate from either Minty or Roosevelt.
Okay. Yeah.
And you were, basically, your roommates were picked based on the director residence live, reading over the little question and answer sheet you gave and trying to pair you up with someone who matched your lifestyle.
Right. So Catherine asked, is your entire seminar in your nest? I know you talked a little bit about that before, but can you quickly just reiterate how the nests are composed and how that works?
Hi, Catherine. Thank you for your question. And yes, so the whole seminar is in a nest. And that seminar will live in sort of the same area, just like Meredith had said, you know, so you might not be roommates, but you will definitely live either in those neighboring areas and residence halls. So if you are in a seminar, let's say Professor Alford's seminar, who's teaching sport, you will be in Brownell Nest, and Brownell Nest is situated in either Jackson, Wheaton, or Smith. And so 4 to 5 seminars are all grouped together to form one nest. So don't think like you're just going to be with that seminar the entire time, or that you're living with them or anything like that. So there definitely is a wide variety of students in a neighborhood, but your whole seminar falls under a nest.
Nice. And so Benjamin asked, he says that he wants to see one of his favorite bands live in Nantucket in September, but he doesn't know how to go about doing that, and he's 16 trying to figure out how he can get off campus. So how can Benjamin go out and see his band live and maybe continue to go see other bands and things in the city as well?
So luckily, Trinity is in the capital city, and the bus station, South train station, is literally 5 minutes away.
You could walk there.
Yeah, you could. You actually could. So Ben, Benjamin, you would just get to the bus station, either a quick taxi ride, or if you can time it well, take the off-campus shuttle and head down to the bus station. And you should be able to get, for example, a Peter Pan or Greyhound bus to there, or maybe a train. I'm not familiar exactly with that train station area, but really simple. It's easier going to school in a capital city.
Any other suggestions about how people should get off campus? You kind of already talked about using the bus, the U-Pass, and like he said, he's 16. There are people really young. Do you have any advice for people traveling for the first time while, coming to a college campus?
Buddy system. It's like the same advice that you got growing up. You go with a friend, multiple friends, especially in a new area that you don't know. It just adds a level of comfort and safety. It's just, whether you're in the middle of nowhere or the city, you should be with a buddy.
Yeah. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help. It's sort of, you're not, always ask for help. I think that's sort of a great piece of advice as well. Never think that any problem is too small. And so if we need to sort of show you how to do that and how to go about it, like, we live in a great city, and so it's so easy to just get on a bus from Greyhound or Peter Pan. You can really go anywhere because we live in a city that's literally right in the middle of two major cities as well, and so there's transport really anywhere. And also the local bus, sort of the Hartford CT Transit, also has a direct bus that goes to the train station
And to the airport.
So definitely utilize that. And when you get on campus, you'll be able to sort of find the bus schedule. It's located by the dining halls, and it's sometimes complicated, but we're definitely here to sort of point you in the right direction. But it should be fairly easy for you to go and see your favorite band.
There are also zip cars on campus. And as a student, I found that extremely helpful because I was driving when I got to college, and the feeling of independence that you get from driving, I was missing it, and then I found out about zip car and my life changed.
And you can easily register for zip cars.
Yeah.
Just go online and just.
So if you don't know, zip cars, it's a car sharing service that a lot of campuses subscribe to. Trinity does. We have at least 4 cars. All you need is your driver's license, and I think that's it.
Yeah,
it's
you
really
just sign up
easy.
online.
You sign up online.
Do they pay? Or is
Yes.
It's
So
like per day, right?
Yes,
Or
it's per hour, but you
hour.
can also do per day, and it's really affordable if you split the car by 5 people. If you fill the car up with your friends, it becomes like ridiculous.
It's like $7 an hour to be able to rent it. And the beauty of it as well is, like, if you're an international student, like Console and I were as well, you sort of can use your driver's license. Your international driver's license. I remember when I first had to sign up, I just had to get like a proof of sort of my driver's license from back home. But now I did it again, and I didn't even have to do that. So that's a great way as well for international students to sort of get around campus, especially because it's like, oh, you might not want to get a US driver's license, but you have an international license that is still valid in the United States. So you can definitely utilize that.
Okay. And so we had a conversation before this live forum started. We talked about textbooks, our purchase of textbooks during our first year of college. We talked about the ins and outs, and we gave each other some advice even today about how to get textbooks and materials for classes. Victoria said, for one of my classes, I got 5 results required for textbooks, and this was after she searched it in on the Barnes & Noble website. Should I wait for my professor to tell me which one to get, or should I get them now, or ... So what should Victoria do? She already has her list of textbooks. Do you have any advice for Victoria? Do you think she should get the books now? Should she wait until she get on campus? What do you think?
I think the first thing to think about is if you know you're sticking with this class.
Very good.
Because if you think there's even a tiny chance that you might end up dropping this class and picking up another, don't get the books yet, because then you'll just return them and it'll be a whole nightmare. But if you know, like, this class is so important to me, I love the description, I want this to figure out what I want to study, and you really want to get ahead in your class, maybe it might be a good idea to get those books flipped through, but there's a lot of different options on how to get those books. If you guys want to.
Yeah, you don't just have to get them through the bookstore, and your professors will even tell you this. It's sort of, if you are thinking of ordering them online through Amazon, I would say yes. If you know that you're going to stick with the class, I would say yeah, get them now, because you don't know how long. If you don't have Prime, some of the books might not be under Prime. You can certainly order them now, and they should be here by the time class starts. And feel free. Also, the bookstore has an option to be able to either rent or buy used books. So there's that option for you as well. So you rent the book for the semester, and then by the end of it, you get to give it back. Or you can buy secondhand books, which is often they're in great condition. So don't feel like you have to buy brand new books. Don't feel like you have to buy them from the bookstore. There are a lot of options. You can get them from the library as well. You just have to be one of the first ones to get them. And sometimes the books are online as well. I remember my sophomore and junior year, I didn't end up wanting to buy the books because they were a little expensive. So I just sort of went online, tried to find them online. If not, I sort of asked my professors. Sometimes your professors have extra copies of the books, and if you sort of ask them nicely and see if they would be willing to let you borrow the book, that's also an option.
For your students that you end up meeting might have taken that class, they might still have those books. I always got used books when I was in school. I loved them because I would look at the highlighting that other students have done, and I look at the notes in the margins, and it was like half the work was done.
It's added value.
Right.
So sort of to answer the question, even though we might have, I think you can make the decision of whether or not you're going to stick with the subject, and then I would say get the books before the time. Go look at them a little bit, see what's going on. But
Definitely
if you're not sure, if you're not sure, even if you're like 90% sure, I would say just wait. Hold off. Get to see the first week of classes. And do remember, like, the way your schedule is right now, it's not set. You don't have to sort of know exactly what you're doing now. There is something called add drop, which happens like the week after your first week of classes, where if you're not sure about a class, you can drop a class and add another one or swap it. So feel free to do that.
So I'm going to switch gears just a bit. Someone asked about bikes. Elias, he says, does Trinity have some bikes, or can I plan to bring my own bicycle just to travel on campus? And we know that people travel on campus all the time. So should he wait until he gets to Trinity to use a Trinity bike, or can he bring his own?
I would suggest bringing his
Bring your own. Yeah. We're doing, especially with my Ness's seminar, there is a cycling seminar, and sort of we're going to be doing some things with that seminar and biking around, and we'll definitely be including the other nests as well. So I would say, honestly, having a bike is pretty fun to have a bike on campus. It makes you're having to wake up a little less earlier. You can make it a little later and sort of But if you don't decide not to do that, there are bikes you can get from the school, and they're cruises, so they don't really go that fast. You can't really change the speed of them, but you can definitely utilize them on campus. But if you have your own bike and can bring it, I would say bring it. Just make sure you bring a lock and a key to be able to lock it up.
People also bring skateboards and scooters and no hoverboards. None of those.
You also see professors riding their bikes around.
Yeah, a lot of professors.
Okay, and so Benjamin had one more question. Well, maybe two more questions, I should say. But he said, I want to start a band when I get on campus. I have joined the Mill online, but when will they start emailing? And my plan for a band is like hard rock, alternative, metal style, and I have happened to have my own instruments. So can he bring his own instruments? When will the Mill email him? How can he start his own band?
So right now it's summer, so the members of the Mill may not be on full email rotation, so be a little patient with them. So I would say within the first 2 weeks, you should hear back from a member of the Mill, and I love the Mill, and they will be so open and excited to have you, so enthusiastic, and even being willing to bring your instruments. In terms of hacking them, I'm not sure, so I would reach out to a member of the Mill on their Facebook group to see if you can get confirmation. Because I know we have a lot of equipment at the Mill, so it may not be necessary to log all your personal instruments for campus. Yeah.
And you'll be able to meet people either in your residence hall or in your classes. When you talk to people and be like, hey, I have the same idea. Like, I want to start a band too. And that's sort of a way to meet students.
Yeah.
If they don't get back to you in 2 weeks, don't be afraid to just re-email because sometimes emails get lost.
Right. And you'll also, you can tell them about the activities fair that's coming up and the great opportunities that some students have when the first week of school starts. So the Mill's a cultural house. So what do they go about visiting the Mill? Do you know?
So the activities fair is this great fair where every single student organization that's currently functioning at Trinity College has a table, and you can find out more about them, get to meet its members, sign up. And the beauty of it, which I was, as a first year, kind of afraid of, I thought that I had to commit. That's not the case. You just sign up. You sign up for everything.
Yeah.
You get an email, and then you choose to attend or not. You go to meetings, and you see how it goes, and if you like it or if you don't. So I would say don't be afraid to sign up for something because you're not signing your life away. It's just a show of interest. In terms of when student leaders will get back to you, as soon as you put your name on our list at the activities fair, within the next day or two, those leaders will be reaching out to you. So it's a pretty quick turnaround. So not to worry, get to campus, just make sure you go to the activities fair and you'll go done.
And so Catherine has a question. She said, should I get a safe for my dorm? I have heard horror stories about laptops and wallets getting stolen from people's rooms.
Keep the door locked, but
Just pull your door in.
yeah, but
You know, every window sort of has it's like I don't know what you call it, like a sheet in front of it. It's like a
screen.
A screen. There we go.
Yeah.
Each window has a screen in front of it, so there really is no way that anyone can get into your dorm unless you keep the door open, which is something that I don't think that you should. There would be no reason sort of just to have your door open when you're not in there.
I know when I was in college, there was this recommendation to get like a lock for your computer, but I never did, and it was never an issue. You just use your common sense. You don't share your stuff with other people. You don't give them the codes to get things. So that way they can't get into your phone, get into your laptop.
So I'm not sure how many of you have been in places where residential settings, but at Trinity, every student gets an ID, and that ID is something you should have with you at all times because it gets you into everything. It gets you into your room. So to answer your question, just close your door. Don't give your card to anyone. That card is yours because if something were to happen and they see that you lent it to someone, then we don't know, we won't be able to follow up and kind of control it that way. So just have your ID on you, close your door.
Even in the library, we just, in any setting, we would never sort of just leave our phone or our laptop. Yeah, if you're in a coffee shop, never even who's around you and what you're doing. That's sort of the way to go about it. There are no sort of horror stories about anything happening. It's just being smart about what you're leaving around, and I think the fellows answered that perfectly.
Yeah.
So no need to worry.
If you really want to save, we're not going to tell you not to get one. Of course, you can get one,
But
but
for a laptop,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't
no,
see it as unnecessary
Yeah.
thing.
I would, we were students here. I've never had anything stolen. And I've been here now for 5 years.
Especially for in your room. If your laptop's stolen from your room, then
Yeah.
So when you talked about the ID cards. Alex, can you talk about when students get their ID cards and the process of check-in?
Yeah, so you get your IDs when you check in, and it'll be in a little envelope, and your ID gives you access to your dorm room. It'll give you access to the library after 10 p.m. You use your ID to swipe for your meals. You can use your ID to do your laundry. You put Bantam bucks on your card. You use your ID for everything. Don't lose your ID. Just keep it on you. And if you do lose it, I'm pretty sure you have to pay. I think it's $40 to get a replacement.
It's a lot of money.
You said something about Bantam bucks. What's Bantam bucks?
So Bantam bucks, you can use your ID as like a debit card, pretty much. So you can go online and you put your credit card number in, and you can just put however much money you want on your card. And like I said, you can use that for your laundry. You can use that for the vending machines in the library. You can use it at Goldberg's. You can use it for other food options. So they're pretty useful.
There's also a list online on the Trinity College site where some of the local businesses around campus have sort of allowed us to use our Bantam Bucks. So there is a CVS in the area that allows you to use your Bantam Bucks if you do have it. First and Last, which is a bakery that's also about like 5 minutes away from campus, amazing food. You can use your Bantam Bucks there. So if you just go online, there is a list of places, and you'll be also just type in Bantam Bucks on Google, and you can sort of follow the steps there on how to put money on your card.
Okay, so Elias has another question, which is pretty important. He says, I heard that some places around Hartford are not that safe to travel at certain times. Would you mind telling us about those areas which are not safe? I just want to be aware. Thanks. Benjamin replied, actually, particularly the neighborhood our campus is in is the most dangerous neighborhood in the city because it's really poor. So would you like to talk about Hartford?
It's a city. You're not going to wander around the city at night by yourself. I wouldn't say it's more dangerous or less dangerous than New York City. It's a city. You have a buddy, you act smart, you be aware of what's around you, you'll be fine.
I think that comes it up.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just like any other city.
Yeah.
You're not gonna go around wandering around.
Don't like wave your money around.
It's a city.
Yeah. Would you like to talk about some our relationship with campus safety, some of the things that are around on campus, and maybe even the fact that we have a great relationship with Hartford Police Department? Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
So campus safety is our campus safety, but they are always present. And the beauty of campus safety is, again, it's a part of the community. It's not an external security firm. No, they are always there with us. They chat with us when we eat at the dining hall. We see them walking back. They encourage us when we're studying and looking stressed out. They're always around, always present. You can call them. They're on bikes, they're on foot, they're in patrol cars. We have a great relationship with the Hartford Police Department. We actually have a police station on the perimeter of campus, a Hartford Police Station, and within that building, we also partner with campus safety, so literally close connection. And we also run on a blue light system, which I know many campuses across the world, country use. And if there's ever an emergency or some situation where you may not feel comfortable, you just hit that, and a campus safety officer comes in regular time. You also can ask for escort. So I know I was often in the library very late. And once it was a little dark and kind of icy, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to call for an escort. Called for an escort, and a campus safety officer just walked with me back to my dorm. Yeah. So you never need to feel like it's not an option. There's so many options for that support.
That's the beauty sort of being on a smaller campus, is that you sort of create connections with everyone that there is. And I know that, like, I made friends with the campus safety officers, and whenever they see me, they're like walking around, they're like, oh, come on, hop in my car, I'll give you a ride where you are, and sort of those are the type of connections that you do want to make. There really should never be a reason why you feel unsafe, because there's always someone around.
Yeah, and I think to give a story about the blue light system, I know someone once slipped and fell. It was quite icy, and those were situations as well. Hit the blue light on your way, and again, to exemplify the community spirit of Trinity, that person then was taken to the hospital, and campus safety waited on them, got them ice cream at Friendly's after. That's the kind of community you're coming into. Right. So,
and you talked about community, like Trinity, we're in the city of Hartford. So we're in the residents of Hartford. We're in their neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about the connection that Trinity College has with the city of Hartford and our local businesses, local schools, just a general relationship with the people of Hartford?
Yeah, so as a student, that's what drew me to Trinity College. Tanika, you put it beautifully. So for example, I had first year students last year who from the get-go at the students activities fair, they connected with community service groups, and one of my wonderful students began mentoring at HMTCA, which is the Hartford Magnet School that Trinity College partners with, and she found that those were some of the most valuable moments of her first year. So after class, once a week, she would go to classrooms and just mentor, hang out with them, help them with homework, things like that. If you want to help out at our community garden at something that we have that's really amazing called Trinfo Cafe, which is an internet cafe and education center that Trinity started quite a few years ago. You can do that. If you want to teach art to students, if you want to volunteer with the Girls House of Connecticut, something that I did, opportunities are endless. And again, that's the beauty of being in this city. If even there's something that no one thought about before, there's a student who's about to be a senior, and he literally looked at some of the food that was left over in our dining hall every day, and he thought to himself, this is wrong. And out of the blue, he just said, I need to find a way to get this food to the people who need it. And like that, a club was born, and he was able to start that project. So there's so many ways to be part of, to exemplify the community that we are, and it's either programs that have started already, or you can do that.
There are just a lot of volunteering options in the city. We're in the state capitol. We are right across the street from what we call the Learning Corner, because there's just a bunch of schools right across the street from us, K through 12, hospital, lots of opportunities.
And so Jocelyn asked, which, this is kind of a question related to the ID cards, where Alex talked about having access to the dining halls. Which plan do you recommend for lunch and dinner? I know there are 3 different plans. I'm not exactly sure if the number 3 is correct, but there are different plans. So are there any meal plans particular that you would recommend for a first-year student?
I mean, if you eat a lot, then get the gold plan.
Unlimited.
I think I would moderate it, and then you could get details. You have to know yourself. You know, there's no one answer. So I think what you start with, that every first year is put on at least for the first 2 weeks, I believe, or maybe a month, gives you the option to feel things out, and then you can adjust to your needs. So you can go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, like I said, if you eat a lot, then you go to the gold plan. My first year, I did eat a lot because I was an athlete, and it gives you the opportunity. You can eat in the regular dining hall, and you can eat at the bistro, which is across campus, and it's just different food options. So you can eat in the regular dining hall. You can, if you want a sandwich and fries every day, you don't have to. You're not stuck to eating at Matter. You can eat at the bistro, which is on the other side of campus.
For me, it was more of a finance thing. So I knew that I wanted to be sort of on the cheaper plan, and the cheaper plan was the one where I think it's 19 meals a week and you can only eat from Mather. The beauty of it though is that you do get given flex dollars, which are sort of dining dollars, and you can use those in the different dining options, which is like the cave and the bistro, I think it is. Yeah, and so you can use those, and I think it's $100 or might be $50 a semester, that $50 that you get to use that. So that's definitely an option as well. I know for me it was more a financial thing, which was the reason why I chose the 19 meals a week and only at Mather, and it ended up working out perfectly for me. And also the nice thing is if you have friends that are on a different meal plan, sort of what I would do, I had friends that were on a different meal plan. So every time we went to Mather, I would swipe them, and every time we went somewhere else, they would swipe me, you know? So it's sort of like, you can come up with something, and it's sort of like Consol said, it's about like getting to know yourself and what you need out of it.
If you live in North, the closest dining for you is going to be Goldberg's, that's like extra money, and then bistro. So you're gonna want to be able to eat at the bistro because there's awesome food there. Late night dining in the cave, that's the basement of Mather.
So you just brought up North, and Victoria had a question. Did you ever live in North Campus? That's where I'll be living. People keep saying it's really far from everything else on campus. Is that true? Should I be concerned? I lived in North my first year. Both of my nests are located in North. So if you lived on the north side of campus, can you just give Victoria a little insight about North and kind of just paint the picture that North is not as far as she really thinks it is?
It takes like 12 minutes to get from one end of campus to the other. It's a small campus, super walkable.
What did your first years think when you were RA?
Yeah, so I was in North for 2 years, so that has to tell you something, that I definitely enjoyed it. And so North is so special because it's this great community that you just step into, you know, and so everyone, because they're all bonding over the fact that they are the first years on that side of campus, you know, and so I was always jealous of sort of the relationship that everyone in North had, so it's definitely something to look forward to. And the nice thing about that also is that the only sort of classes that you would have on that side is the English building is on that side, as well as sort of the global studies building is on that side. So what it allows for is sort of separating your classes from sort of where you're living a little bit, even though like we said, campus is so small and it's so easy to move back and forth. I know Meredith said 12 minutes, you know, that's like
If that,
really the maximum that it would ever take you to move from one end to the other. So for me, I really liked living on that side of campus because it gave me, and like I said, even though it's small, a little bit of separation from sort of what I was doing every day, and sort of I was like, okay, I don't feel like I'm in the same sort of learning and living situation. And then just the connection that I had with everyone. That you lived in North as well, right? No, Taniqua, who will be your fellow, lived in North as well, and she was there as a freshman as well. So, and I promise you, we can all say the same thing. North is an incredible sort of community that you develop, as well as it allows you to get to know the upper students that are living on that side as well, because there are a substantial amount of upper year students that live on that side, as well as sort of if you're part of clubs, there are like the film studies department has a house on that side. They have sort of the Millers on that side. All the cultural houses are on that side. So it really is a fantastic environment to be a part of. So you definitely shouldn't be worried.
Fun and social, lots of fun late night activities too.
Footsteps away.
And so Elias asked another question. We have the opportunity to have two international students, two people who were undergraduate international students here on this panel today. And so Elias asked, he stated, I am an international student. What are some of the challenges faced by international students in their first year? So not only did you have the experience, both of you, Chanel and Consuelo, as international students, but you also worked with international first years as well. So you could kind of talk about your personal experience and maybe some things you saw that occurred for first year students last year.
I think I'm going to start global. So I think the biggest challenge for an international student is being open to change. And that would apply to any first year student. So you don't need to isolate yourself because everyone's dealing with that. But things will be different. There'll be many, many things that'll be the same. And with my personality, I would see things that are similar first. But some things will be different. So it's nice. It's a good plan to know that going in, so that you don't shock yourself unnecessarily. Like things will be different, but to observe and be patient with yourself with those changes. So that's kind of my global answer. And then with those changes, be gentle with yourself in your reactions. So if you're feeling a bit homesick, don't freak out that you're feeling homesick. Just, okay, I'm feeling homesick today. That's fine. Today is really cold. I'm not accustomed to the cold. Be patient with yourself. Don't be afraid to ask for advice, and just not being afraid of the fact that you will experience changes, I think, is a way to circumvent a lot of the challenges.
I mean, everything, I agree with everything, and I think one of the things that I learned quickly being here is like, never be afraid to ask for help, you know, and that was the first thing, never, everyone is sort of a tourist here for their first week, because even if you do come from a different part of the country, you are international, there are so many other people, and the entire first year class is also new here, and so everyone is really going through very much the similar things, maybe not to the same extent, but everyone is definitely going through some sort of change. And so the more you can sort of allow yourself to ask for help, we're always here to make your experience at Trinity the best it possibly can be, and so I know, like, at times I was like, I can't ask for help on this, it's going to be so weird, like, everyone's going to look at me weirdly and ask me, why don't I know that? But that's not true, because everyone probably has the same questions you do have, and there really are so many resources available on campus for you to sort of get to know this place a little bit better or ask for help. And so the international office, Katie Claire, is fantastic and is willing to help you wherever you possibly need. The iHouse is a great resource. And then just like putting yourself out there.
I'm just gonna say that.
Like put yourself out of your comfort zone. You've already come this far and gotten out of your comfort zone. Why not go a little further?
Don't limit yourself. Don't just join the international house. Join something completely different that has nothing to do with being an international student. That's, for me, that was the reason for stepping outside of my home country. So to answer your question, again, I would say the challenges might be dealing with weather changes,
Climate.
obviously being away from physically your native country, maybe getting adjusted to the food, but those two things I just said, and anything else you might think of or be worried about, just know it's fine. No reason to freak out. You have so much support. We have a wonderful counseling center where you can go in and talk about anything. It's completely normal. If you just miss your dog, like that's normal. You can go in and talk about that. There's so much support, and we are the pit stop. So if you think there's too much to remember, just come to us first.
And even if the education and sort of the academic side of things are very different to what you're used to, there are so many resources as well. Like the writing center is willing to help you whenever that's possible. I promise you, they're open at night as well, and you can just go in there. So if you're having trouble with that, there's the math center. There's also, like Consuela just said, if you need a tutor for any subject, you can the dean of students will definitely set that up for you without charge as well, which is something to know. So that's definitely worth knowing.
We have an amazing SI and TA system that many classes have. So you have an RPS student who's taken the class and done well, be a teaching assistant or supplemental instructor. And then in some cases where classes don't have that, there may be the chance to have a tutor. So there really are so many places where we catch you if you're starting to feel shaky. That answers your question.
Yeah. And so Chanel talked a little bit about resources, and just to clarify, students cannot get a tutor only for special circumstances. So there's a whole process that they would have to go through for that. But can you talk a little bit more about other resources on campus, such as the counseling center and accommodations?
Yes, I actually just wanted to mention accommodations. I know Meredith can speak about that a bit more. But if there is any situation that you think you might need special accommodations, we have a wonderful accommodations coordinator, Lori Clappis, and you should have received some information about her. But if not, feel free to reach out to your transition fellow, and we can direct you to her. For example, if in high school you received extra time on examinations, or if you needed any type of written supplements or exam situations that are a bit different, please contact Lori, and we will, if you have food restrictions.
She doesn't necessarily cover that. That's directly to Mather, or to Chartwells. She just talked to me about that. If you are kosher, for example, you talk to Chartwells about that.
Right, but again, your first talk is us, and then we will filter the information from there. So that's the accommodations. Tanika, you mentioned something else, the counseling center. An amazing,
great resource.
Amazing resource. And as I said, it's so normal. Don't feel like, I'm not sure what you think, but if you miss your dog, you can schedule an appointment and talk to them about that. If you are like really craving your mom's home cooked food and you can't get it out of your mind, and anything, there's no range or limit to what you want to talk about that
And it's free. We have free counseling. It's like the greatest thing ever. And I'm not ashamed to talk about it, but like as a student, I was there every week, and it's sort of, even if I wasn't having an issue or anything like that, it was just someone that I could talk to, someone that was there and wanted to listen to me, it's sort of, and I could sort of have an appointment at my convenience, whenever I wanted to sort of go there. And it was just a great facility, a great resource, and it's really utilize it, really make use. And the counselors are fantastic. I mean, they're really so wonderful. And you're not limited to just seeing one of them, it's sort of, if you don't feel like you're getting on with the counselor that you have, you can change to someone else, no hard feelings at all. And it's entirely confidential. So don't feel like anything you say in that area and in that space gets said to anyone else. The counselors, if you don't want them to, they won't even acknowledge you if you walk by them sort of on campus, just because that's the confidentiality that they follow. So it's definitely definitely worth seeing.
And it was Catherine that asked the question about food restrictions. So Catherine, if you did not catch that, you can talk to Mather Hall or Lori Clappis, or your first stop should be your transition fellow, and they can help you figuring out the steps to figuring out exactly your food restrictions. And so it's 6 o'clock. The transition fellows covered pretty much everything, but one thing that I noticed that we did not cover, and someone didn't really talk about that, or no one asked that question, is what is it like to be a student athlete on campus? What is it like to be a highly involved student on campus? All of the transition fellows was involved on their campuses. All 4 out of 5 of the fellows graduated from Trinity, and then Meredith graduated from Bates. But as transition fellows, I think we really exemplify what it means to be highly involved, and that comes with a lot of hard work and time management skills. So can each of you just briefly probably share 1 word or 2 words of advice as to how students highly involved can go about their first year?
Know your limits. I did better when I was involved with more things, and that helped me do better in classes.
One thing for me is you should definitely stay organized. I was a student leader and I played basketball, and being organized it helped me out a bunch.
I'd say the same, and I like what Meredith said, knowing your limits. So everyone will be different, but kind of experimenting, and we're here to help you figure that out. That's part of the transition. So knowing your limits and not being afraid to try new things.
Have a planner. I go to an organization, but seriously invest in a good planner where you can keep everything organized. And also just for me, it was just making use of every opportunity that came my way, but making sure that everything I did to the best of my ability. As soon as I knew I wasn't doing it to the best of my ability, that sort of had to move aside. So definitely make sure you're invested 100% in what you do, and that way it will help you figure out sort of your limits.
Okay. And so to wrap up, they asked if we can please reintroduce ourselves. So we'll start with Meredith. And after I introduce myself as the moderator, we'll say goodbye to the class of 2020 until we see them.
Hi guys, I'm Meredith Friedman. I graduated from Bates College in 2011. I was a double major in politics and art and visual culture. And in 2014, I got my Master's of Fine Arts in Studio Art from American University in Washington, D.C. I'm the Transition Fellow for Lemonette and Washington Nests.
My name is Alex Conaway. I graduated from Trinity in 2015. I was an educational studies major, and I'm a Transition Fellow for Lockwood and Cannon Nest.
Hi everyone, my name is Consuelo Pedro. I graduated from Trinity in 2015 with a degree in neuroscience, and I'm the Transition Fellow for Elms and Olmsted Nest.
Hi everyone, my name is Chanel Erasmus. I also graduated from Trinity in 2015 and was majoring in theater and dance, and I'm getting my master's at the moment in public policy, and I'm the Transition Fellow for Book and Brownell Nest.
Hi, I'm Tanika Hughley. I'm also a Transition Fellow. I served as the moderator for the evening. I graduated from Trinity College in 2015. My major was sociology and my minor was legal studies. I am the Transition Fellow for both the Mentee Nest and the Roosevelt Nest. It was great hearing all of your questions. Thank you to my fellow colleagues for answering all your questions. And so we all sent out a letter to you a few days ago, maybe sometime last week. So if you have any additional questions, please reach out to your Transition Fellow, or just comment on our Facebook page, our Instagram, or you can post a question on the Class of 2020 Facebook page, and we'll be sure to answer any questions that you have before you get to campus. Thank you again, and we hope to see you soon.
Bye.